podcast, but yeah, it's not. They don't dwell on it, which I appreciate, because nothing casts doubt on a person's legitimacy more than being like a 50-year-old man who lives with your mom. But I believe, because when he goes to see the eclipse, his mom like kisses him on the cheek and says, you know, good luck, honey. So obviously he's leaving his home to go see the eclipse. Last thing I want to ask you guys before we wrap it up, we're going a little bit over today. Is Mark Sargent doing a bad thing? What do you think, Greg? Is Flat Earth bad?
I mean, I go both ways with this, because I'm like, if people can be convinced of things too easily in a mass group, if millions of people can be convinced of something too easily, yes, that is a bad thing, because bad things we've seen bad things happen when people get convinced of something too easily. On the other side of it, I'm like, hey man, losers need to have fun too. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, I don't want to, but you know, like, yeah, I mean, it's harmless, but it's not harmless. You know, like, yeah. I'm very like, I'm conflicted with this. I don't want, I don't want a lot of people, I remember I don't want to get too political, but I remember during the election, and it seems like it was no way Trump was going to win this. I was going to other cities doing comedy, and it was just seemed no way, and then it happened.
Guess on my part, I would imagine that event probably was, it inspired more people into things like Flat Earth.
Yeah.
Anyway, Alec, what do you think? Is it a good thing, bad thing?
I think it's terrible. And like, there's conspiracies that I think are harmless and fun. Like, is the government hiding that aliens exist? You can believe in that and still kind of get everything. But I think the problem with Flat Earth, and you see this in that one guy with the brain coach, is that once you get accustomed to thinking that, like, really it's just about finding these sort of entertaining patterns, but also at the same time, it's about distrusting science. And by the way, like, I'm huge into criticizing scientists all the time, but at the same, like, I have respect for the process. Once it gets into there, you've got people who will, show up at a pizza place with a gun, or people who don't vaccinate their kids and lead to measles outbreaks in Brooklyn and kill people who are immunocompromised. You have, and like, everything that science has done for us, in health, in technology, that all can easily kind of go away when you have people just espousing these specifically like anti-scientific conspiracy theories. And I think that's really bad and dangerous.
Well said. What do you think, Claire?
So I think on, I guess, a charitable approach to people who truly believe in the flat earth is it serves some of the same power as maybe like, if we could call it like a secular religion, where increasingly, like, I don't want to bring Nietzsche into this because we're wrapping things up, but in, the 20th and 21st century, we live in a world where there is not a pervasive belief in an ordered universe where everything fits together and everything makes sense and can be explained. Religion often provides that, and that's not a good or a bad thing. I don't have anything bad to say about that. But this conspiracy theories seem like a kind of interesting backdoor into that for non-religious people. It's a way of having a universe where even if you don't fully understand it, everything makes sense. You don't just have a random shooter who decides to assassinate JFK. It's part of something bigger. Everything's part of something bigger. And it can be really scary to believe that we live in the kind of absurd, almost random is the wrong word, but I'll use it anyway, random reality where things happen for no reason. And having the comfort of believing that everything happens for a reason, I have a hard time judging somebody for wanting that. So that's my charitable take of people with most conspiracy theories, including Flat Earth. On the other hand, something I was kind of talking about earlier is that since these conspiracy theories, Flat Earth specifically here, require increasing degrees of skepticism in the institutions that are critical for the foundations of all our beliefs, it has a kind of spiraling downward effect where if you don't trust government information and you don't trust science and you don't trust scientific peer review and you don't trust the media, and each time one of these things goes towards disproving this belief system that you're very attached to, it becomes the target of large-scale mistrust. Then we end up in a situation where a lot of people believe that education itself is indoctrinating people, where people don't believe in scientific findings because the very institution of science can't be trusted, and where people believe that the New York Times is fake news. And I think that that's really damaging for society as a large-scale phenomena. And so that part I think is really bad for the world. And I don't think that that's just Flat Earth, but I think that Flat Earth is the thing that actually there's a lot perpetuating like the belief in fake news. So I won't say that Flat Earth is the thing that's causing that, but among maybe, I think Flat Earth is doing a lot to contribute to that. I'll say it's a product of that, and it's contributing to it. It's perpetuating a cycle of mistrust in important public fact-gathering institutions. And I think that's incredibly dangerous, and I think that's contributing to a lot of the problems of today. And that is my thought on that.
Yeah, I think that's really well said for all you guys. I think that I was going to kind of come in here and say for my most charitable thing about Flat Earth is that it does seem like I would much rather these people find a community in something like Flat Earth than them
there's
be
Magic the Gathering, man.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But if you are on the complete outskirts of society and have been completely cast off, I'd much rather you be in Flat Earth than take it out on your old boss or shoot up a school or something crazy like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it is the fact, and the documentary kind of paints these pictures that all these people have broken family lives or something like that that has driven them to Flat Earth. And if that is the case, and granted, I don't know if that is the case. I'm sure there are plenty of Flat Earthers with good jobs, good, stable lives. This documentary had to propose a narrative in order to be a fulfilling documentary. But I guess if they are that desperate as individuals, if they are that disenfranchised, then I'm glad to have any community rather than no community. But having said that, I'm not going to repeat what Alec and Claire said because I think they said it very well, is that it can... Yeah, we don't want to perpetuate that kind of doubt in the systems that kind of keep society moving and kind of keep us from anarchy. So, yeah, I'd have to agree with both of you. All right, guys, we're running way over today, so I'm going to skip the mailbag. However, I got a couple emails and some comments about our Office Space podcast. I had mentioned that I attempted to read a book about the creation of the blogosphere and how I mentioned that it parallels the economics of YouTube. And so people were asking, what's the name of the book? The book is called Trust Me, I'm Lying by Ryan Holiday. So if you guys want to read that book, I promise, just replace the word blog with YouTube, and it's basically the exact same thing that happened to that industry that's happening to this industry, and how widespread disinformation and stuff like that and media manipulation is the key to winning on both platforms. And that's kind of created the ecosystem that we have both in the blog world and in YouTube today. So, guys, we're going to skip the mailbag today, but please send us your comments, thoughts, concerns, whatever, to movies@wisecrack.co, or give us a call on our voicemail service. That's 213-534-8807 or 21-ELFGUT07. I want to thank my guests today, Greg, Claire, and Alec. Thank you guys so much. Next week, we are going to be doing the Theranos documentary that's coming on HBO this Sunday. I believe it's called...
Yeah.
What is it called? It's not called Bad Blood.
Bad Blood.
It is
I'm pretty
Bad
sure
Blood.
It's Bad Blood.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
It is Bad Blood. Okay, cool. So we're going to be doing that next weekend, or next week. So thank you guys so much for listening. But before we go, where can we find you guys on the internet? Greg.
Greg the Grouch on Twitter, gregcomedy.com. I got a podcast on Wisecrack Network called Black Stage Podcast. It's all about stand-up comedy. Please check it out.
And Claire.
You can find me on Twitter at The Claire Report. And if you're interested in a really awesome Good Place podcast done by a few Wisecrack writers, but it's not a Wisecrack podcast, look up The Burrito.
And Alec.
I'm on Twitter at WisecrackAlec. Also completely unrelated. Thanks to James Wood for donating. That's the last person I have to shout out.
Oh, thank you guys so much for the donations. We're going to keep doing this live stuff. Really appreciate your support. Anyway, until next time, see ya.
Peace. Live from Hollywood, California.